Hey everyone, welcome to a special bonus episode of Locked On Lakers. Brian Kamenetsky, Andy Kamenetsky. The Lakers needed a win on Friday, and they got a win on Friday. That's about it, though. We'll explain next.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks to everybody for making Locked On Lakers first listen of every day, Monday through Friday, and sometimes on Saturdays. No matter how or where you get your podcast, it's always free, never behind a paywall. And Locked On Lakers on YouTube is where you can go hang out with over 23,000 subscribers, all of whom are saying to themselves, well, they won. Beats the alternative. The Lakers beat the Spurs on Friday night. 123-118 is the final score. And, you know, it was not a game, Andy, where it really looked like they were ever in danger of losing necessarily. They were winning throughout, and a couple times San Antonio closed the gap to 3 or 4 points. One time as late as 3, with about a minute left in the third quarter. But broadly speaking, the Lakers were in control of this game. That said, it was still an uninspiring win in my mind, at least.
They were in control of the game in the sense that you are right. It never seemed threatened to for them to lose, if for no other reason than San Antonio is not being coached this year to win. I mean, that's, if I'm being bluntly honest, maybe the biggest reason that I was never afraid that they would lose this game is because I'm not convinced San Antonio wanted to win it. Like organizationally,
no, it's a reason. Victor Wembanyama, for example, who we'll talk about in a little bit more detail before we're done, played 31 minutes. There's no, I mean, I realize second night of a back-to-back and all that, but there's really no reason.
He's 19 years old,
right? Pop said before, Pop said before the game, like there is no minutes restriction or something like that. Younger player, don't want to get hurt or whatever. The only minutes restriction seemed to be just not enough minutes for us to win.
Well, I mean, for example, he got off to just torching the Lakers to begin this game. Wembanyama had 13 points in under 5 minutes, plus, I believe, 3 rebounds, 2 blocks, and a steal. I mean, he was just insane to open the game, and then was inexplicably taken out. And the Lakers went on, I believe, like a 17-2 runs, something like that. Most, other than a Rui 3, I believe all of it was when Wembanyama sat. Then Wembanyama came back in for like the last 3 or 4 minutes of the first quarter and got it back down very quickly to low single digits, whether because he drove to the basket on D-Lo for an and one, altering a Taurean Prince drive, just his general presence and attention that he garners. If this had been coached to win by San Antonio, unless the Lakers got their asses in gear, I don't think it is out of the question that they would have lost. To me, the larger factor was San Antonio not particularly looking to win. And we'll get into some more particulars of it, Brian, but what bothers me about this for the Lakers is they had an opportunity in this game, not even necessarily to go balls to the walls, but just play with focus and purpose as a tune-up for a really important game on Sunday versus Phoenix, who lost tonight. They're on a 2-game losing streak. They're now just 2.5 games ahead of the Lakers, and they haven't had Bradley Beal. We don't know yet if he's going to be available on Sunday. He's dealing with a hamstring tightness. And look, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe they end up beating Phoenix anyway. But this is a team that struggled as last night's game against Golden State went along, and have not picked up the momentum that they had heading into the All-Star break. I feel like this was a game where they could have worked out some kinks, and instead, to be honest, they kind of sleptwalked through it.
They got kinkier. It was very sloppy. Not in a good way. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But in this particular case, there is. They were just very sloppy. The overall turnover numbers were not outrageous, but Austin Reeves had 5 of the Lakers' 12 turnovers himself. He did not play well, and nine assists notwithstanding, 4 of 12 from the floor, 5 turnovers, even with the 9 assists. The numbers, you look at LeBron, 30 points, 7 rebounds, 9 assists, 28 and 13 for AD. Rui bounces back from a not so great game on Thursday for 17 and 7 with a pair of steals. It's like, if you were just looking at the box score, Andy,
D'Angelo Russell had a nice game.
Yeah. If you were just looking at the box score, D'Lo had 22 points, 3 of 7 3-point range, 6 assists, and only 1 turnover. Like, it was a good fantasy game for like important Lakers players. And again, I didn't think they were ever really in danger of losing, but it did seem like they were going to play just as hard and just as focused and just as precisely as was required to win, and really no more. And I agree with you. It's like, I don't think they use the opportunity in front of them. Other people might say, they would probably say, look, at this point in the season, like, the goal is you second night of a back-to-back even, you just win. Just get out there, win the game. But that might apply to teams that are better than this one.
Well, I mean, look, if they played with more focus from the beginning, you might have been able to put this game away more decisively early. And then some of the guys like D'Lo and LeBron, who, should be noted, looked very fluid and he was lively, all of that. Like,
coming off the injury, didn't play on Thursday. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, it was good to see LeBron this ankle thing is probably going to be something we're going to be monitoring and he's going to be dealing with for the remainder of the season. But he did not look like a guy laboring with an ankle issue, but he played 34 minutes in this game. And D'Lo played 35. Reeves played 33. I feel like if they had played with more focus and purpose from the beginning of this game, maybe they could have knocked some of those numbers down. AD didn't play in the 4th, so I guess that's a positive. But I think you kind of summed it up well. That they haven't earned the right to treat a game like this the way they did tonight.
And you look at the bench. Like, one of the reasons that the game kind of was the way it was, the starters obviously all had their numbers. The bench did not. Only 3 points for Christie, 8 points from Jackson Hayes. Pretty good. You don't expect much more than that. But Spencer Dinwiddie had no points in 24 minutes, 0 of 6 from the floor. Obviously, he is expected to do much more than that.
Somehow plus 21 in this game. This is where the people who don't believe in analytics will just say it's all BS. And
at the very least, just they don't believe in plus minus as an analytic, because,
Dinwiddie, by the way, is playing like somebody who really needed to not have an all-star break, because his first 2 games with the Lakers, he looked pretty in tune despite having barely played with them. Since having that time off, he has not played well at all.
So I hope that turns around on Sunday. But it's not hard to find the holes here. San Antonio is not a good offensive team. They only shot 44% from the floor. They did shoot an uncharacteristically good 39.5% from 3. Some of that is variance and all that. But the Lakers sent in the line 23 times, 11 of that coming from Wemby. It was just Darvin, who typically is all, it's a mad respect for that team. They got a lot of talent over there. I'm proud of my guys. Probably, he seemed annoyed in his post game at sort of what was done.
He spent much more time praising Wembanyama than his own team. And I don't blame him.
I was spending much more time praising Wembanyama. I mean, let's talk about Wemby here. But 27 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, 5 steals, 5 blocks, 10 of 11 from the free throw line. That dude is insane. And he's not just insane like oh man, he's tall, like the alley-oop that he threw in from Jeremy Sohan, who I'm not sure Wembanyama left the ground to.
He did, dunk it, but he didn't really jump. No, he
kind of
it was just sort of like when you jump up a little bit to try to grab something off a shelf, but you're not really putting your whole legs into it. That's basically what he did.
Right. And, you look at like the way he is, and it takes the Lakers. I know they've played. Did he play? I think he only played one of the two games. Or did he play both? I don't remember. But like, I do think you have to kind of reprogram yourself as a player. There were a couple turnovers where, the Lakers put the ball in a place that 98% of the time it's going to be fine. And Wembanyama's length and mobility just hoovered the ball up. I'm very pleased. There's an alternate universe where, and I realize the Spurs are not a good team now, but I still think they're a good organization. There is an alternate universe where Victor Wembanyama ended up on like the Hornets. It's just like a terrible disaster for him in basketball. Like, I'm very pleased that he has a chance of all the teams that were like, top of the lottery last year, to end up in San Antonio. I think is a blessing both for him and for the NBA and for us who want him to be on a good team eventually.
Yeah, it's the same can be said, by the way, with Chet Holmgren.
Yeah,
it's the Thunder are among the best run organizations in the league. Like, I mean, that's just top to bottom a fantastic organization when it comes to the front office decision makers. And we could end up having a Wemby Holmgren rivalry for a long time, and that would be awesome. You mentioned Wemby's line. I had talked about how Thursday night in their loss to Sacramento, Wemby was just an assist shy of a 5x5, where you get at least 5 in 5 different categories. Tonight, he pulled that off. And from Ben Golliver, longtime NBA writer, Spurs, Victor Wembanyama finishes with 27 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, 5 steals, 5 blocks in a loss to the Lakers. That's the first 5x5 game since Yusuf Nurkic in 2019. The last player with 27, 10, 8, 5, and 5 or better was Elijah Wan in 1990. Wow. By the way, that line, 29 points, 18 rebounds, 9 assists, 5 steals, 11 blocks.
It's just crazy. Like, to think like there are certain guys, Anthony Davis is a force defensively and just tilts games and stuff like that. And Wemby doesn't play with that kind of power yet because he's not a powerful player in that way. But just some of the things he does defensively, some of the places he can go offensively with, step back threes. And he's not a good 3-point shooter yet, but, the foundation is there for him to be a, mid-30s kind of guy or something like that. But like just the ground he can cover coming off a screen with like one step and being at the basket or beyond the 3-point line. He is a total unicorn in ways that go well beyond the cliche. And it was really fun to watch him play and play well. I realize, it's the Lakers. It's not great for the Lakers when he does this, but it's fun for basketball fans.
And this was something Ham talked about after the game, and you've heard others who either cover Wembanyama or have been around him some say as well, he's really competitive. Like, he is a super competitive kid. He was talking after the All-Star game about how, from the outside looking in as a rookie, it was disappointing to see the lack of competitiveness in that game. And, whether you could take or leave the All-Star game or not, it bodes well for the future of the league when a kid that uniquely talented is also that uniquely competitive. So
yeah,
it was, if nothing else, the Lakers got the win and Wemby provided the entertainment. So
all in all, so you mentioned a big game on Sunday, the Lakers needing to crank that one up. That's an afternoon start, by the way, for the Lakers. So we'll see how that goes Sunday afternoon. I think it's a 12:30 tip.
It is.
So that's a big one. And the Lakers got it done. They have another back-to-back coming with, the Wizards on the second end of a back-to-back. Like, they need to win that game, and to some degree, style points don't count. But it wasn't pretty. But they won, and it beats the alternative. We've been here doing this after games where they lost to the Spurs. This is definitely better. So we'll be back after Sunday's game to hopefully break down a Lakers victory. And we'll see how that one goes. In the meantime, Andy, before we leave, we want to tell you about this.
The Locked On Lakers is brought to you by eBay Motors, and our partners at eBay Motors have teamed up with Locked On Fantasy Basketball host Josh Lloyd to bring you some of the best fantasy picks each week, all season long, whether you're prepping for a daily draft or scouting the waiver wire. Every week, we're going to provide you players guaranteed to fit your roster. So let's see who Josh has picked out for us on this week's eBay's Guaranteed Fit Fantasy Picks of the Week. Trey Mann, LaMelo Ball's status is up in the air. Unfortunately, that's kind of an open-ended statement. So Mann should be grabbed in fantasy. He is going to have a lot of opportunities with the Hornets at point. And Josh Lloyd from Locked On Fantasy Basketball is going to help you win your fantasy basketball championship. And eBay Motors knows a championship team is about players being a perfect fit. It's the same with your vehicle. And eBay Motors, they have over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, so you can make sure that your ride stays running smoothly. They got brake kits, they got LED headlights, they got whatever your baby needs. And with the eBay Guaranteed Fit, it's guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. So keep your ride or die alive with ebaymotors.com. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Locked On Lakers also brought to you by LinkedIn. Look, every business, you need to find quality professionals that are right for the role. But when you're a small business, you might not have that giant HR department that's able to go out there and scour the earth to make this happen. That's why you need, as a small business, to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to find the right professional for your team faster and free. And LinkedIn isn't just another job board. It has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. It gives you access to professionals you can't find anywhere else. And LinkedIn does all of that while making the process easy and intuitive. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get qualified candidates within 24 hours. Again, small businesses need great people just as much as the big guys do, those giant enterprises and all that. If you don't have the resources to pour into hiring, LinkedIn Jobs is the way that you need to be able to go. You got a lot of people wearing a lot of hats, and this is a phenomenal resource for small businesses. So phenomenal, 2.5 million businesses, small businesses are using LinkedIn for hiring. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. We will see everyone Sunday.